Hi there, everybody. I'm Steven Stairs here, Benton Resources Inc., out of Thunder Bay, Ontario. Here to talk about our project, Great Burnt Lake Copper Gold Project, South Central Newfoundland, where we have completed our third phase of drilling and waiting for results, and currently completing a flow-through financing to continue to advance this beautiful project.
It's a beautiful project indeed. Stephen, good to see you. Right, first of all, you're in the middle of a raise. How's it going? And more importantly, what are you going to do with the money?
Yeah, the raise is going pretty good. It's been tough markets, especially in the recent days, seeing the Dow crash several days in a row, and makes panic for everybody. But nevertheless, we'll close what we can get, and we are going to start drilling immediately after we close this financing. We just completed another 4,000 or 5,000 meters of drilling in the last couple months, and still have a lot of results to come. We've done a lot of trenching with a lot of channel sampling to come. A lot of structural mapping with a guy by the name of Mike Cooley, who's given us a tremendous feel for how these deposits have been formed and deformed for targeting. So we're on track to really delineate resources this summer.
Okay, and talk to me about what Michael is actually here to do, because I've seen the release around the sorts of numbers, and the numbers are good, but the intervals are not. So it's kind of at that point where you need to start interpreting what you're saying. So how many meters of this 4,000 meters are in so far?
Like I say, to date, since last November, I think we're at about 11,000 meters.
Okay.
And closing. We are planning at least another 10 to 15,000 meters, before the end of the year. And, to us in this market especially, and as you and I talked about, you see a lot of companies that don't do anything in these quiet times or in these harder times. But I believe we have a resource to develop and expand on. So we're going to do this, just that.
Right. Okay. So 7,000 meters, and so the more recent program is about 4,000 meters, and you're looking to do an additional, you say,
10 to 15,000.
10 to 15. Okay, so you're getting after this, but so come back to the question. Let me rephrase it differently. It's like, how are you starting to interpret what you've got, and can you give us a little idea of what that's doing in terms of your drill targeting and drill modeling?
Yeah, it's we're using really simple, basic, strip the areas off, map it in very good detail, with smart guys that know structure, know folding and compression, and geology movement. So what Mike has come up for us, and I should point out the one thing that we do see is the massive sulfides that we hit that carries either the high grade copper or in some cases high grade gold to the north, always associated with semi-massive to massive pyrrhotite. So the magnetic data is turning out to be something very, very special for us. And we're doing very detailed ground mag, 5-meter ground mag, at 20-meter line spacings right over the zones. And we can target where the vents and these massive sulfide lenses have kind of flowed out onto the floor. And then they've been compressed into more of a ball or a tube-shaped lens. With kind of fingers off them from the folding. So once we applied the historical drilling to that, it looks extremely good. I mean, we can target what we call a plumb, which is pretty much what we're hitting at the main Great Burnt deposit. So the plumb anomaly is, a lens that's been compressed into a massive sulfide, thicker, zone. There will be multiple of them because not only is it folded horizontally, it's folded vertically as well. So there'll be separate lenses that were all a part of the same lens at one point, but because of erosion, it looks like a separate lens starting. But the story is unfolding beautifully, and it completely makes sense. And this upcoming drill program, we'll actually drill some vertical holes in the peak of the mags to hit the top of the anomaly or top of the massive pyrrhotite, because that's what we're seeing with the magnetic anomaly. And we've proven that now in several places. And then we're going to drill through the guts of the plum. And that will hopefully be able to add tons line after line or step out after step out of this shallow plunging high grade lens. And we've seen that lens now over about 2.5 kilometers at South Pan, but it's been only hit periodically with drill holes because they've either been over or under the plum. So the magnetic anomalies are really letting us target right in on where we hit that plum. So we're pretty excited to test this theory, and we're pretty certain it's pretty accurate.
Right. And so in terms of where you're at the moment, right? Because I'm trying to think of the market and what the market needs to hear. Maybe there's nothing that anyone can say in this current market which is going to make a difference. But you got to try, right? And like you say, you've got a good project, you've got good grades, and it's just working out this geography and trying to understand where things are. But some companies get a bit cute about the way that they want to kind of present that information in the marketplace. So you're at the early stages now. So there's not a whole bunch of pounds at the moment, but you can demonstrate grade. So in terms of the drilling that you're doing, what's the best way to kind of present the best information to market for now, to kind of at least give yourself a chance to sort of stand out from the crowd? Because your grades are significantly higher than most of the stuff that we're seeing out there, but you now need to show scale, right?
Right.
So in terms of getting after these conductors, trying to find other lenses, trying to understand the size of the existing lens, and like getting after this thing. So you're going to have to be super, super efficient with your drilling, right? Because
Exactly.
who knows what you'll end up raising in this market at this moment in time. You can always go and go again, but best effort, maximum effort, and efficient drilling. So how do you think about coming at this?
Well, for one, at the Great Bird deposit itself, we've kind of got a good handle on where the plum is. I mean, even though we've now extended from 600 meters strike length or down plunge length in the main deposit, we've now extended that to 850 meters. We will get a little bit more aggressive now that we're getting deeper and now that we've got a good handle. So hole 45, which we don't have the results for yet, hit 11 meters of massive sulfide and then around 20 meters of semi-massive sulfides with the massive. So it's a nice thick plum, still going strong. We expect the grade should be pretty decent in it. So what we're going to do is step out now about 100 meters at a time. And do some big deep holes. Pick the best center of where we think this plum should be. If we miss it, we're going to pulse the holes with DPM once we finish those 4 holes. So that will give us significant, down plunge extension, another few hundred meters, and adding significant tons if we hit, which I expect we will. I mean, these lenses up at the South Pan portion, for instance, the lens, is at least 2.5 to 3 kilometers long. We see that from the historical drilling. The thing is, it kind of does this kind of wave along. It's either been folded up or down, or also you get the vertical folding, so it moves in stratigraphy if it's been eroded, depending on the dip of it. But the magnetic anomalies are really giving us the pinpoints of where these things are coming to surface, really close to surface, within 50 to 100 meters. So this thing could be, a few million ounces of gold and umpteen million pounds of copper at really shallow depths that you could extract, open pit mining or open cut mining almost. So early days, but the theory is there. And then, of course, at Great Burnt, it's wide open down plunge still. And if you look at Rambler, I mean, I think they're like 3 kilometers now down plunge. And then, of course, there's parallel footwall zones and so forth that we have to test, which they may actually not might be footwall zones. They might be just part of the same lens that's been refolded on the other part of the stratigraphy. So all these things have to be tested. And like I say, efficiency is going to be key, but mag seems to be very, very helpful. And of course, EM once you start getting deeper, the DPM.
Right. Okay. Look, you said something interesting earlier there. Said the companies that can advance projects or perhaps not frightened to try and advance projects in markets like this suggest that the management team thinks they've got something quite good here, right? Because I think there's a lot of companies in a similar position to you, and I think there's a kind of holding pattern of not ripping through the cash, too much. They kind of get into field mapping and trenching and geochemical sampling, etc., to kind of look busy without necessarily meaningfully moving things forward. Is there a little bit of you that thinks, well, maybe we should be doing that, or do you think, I say, drilling's more expensive than all of that stuff, but it gives you the good stuff if you can find it? So
Well,
in terms
that's
of those
just it.
discussions you've had,
I
yeah.
mean, look, Matt, as you know, like take your company from 5 cents to 20 cents is a tough thing to do, and just in the junior space alone. I believe we're tremendously undervalued. Even at 20 cents, let alone 11, 12, 13, where we're trading today. So yeah, I think we just got to go for it. I'm not. We've been around since 2005. We survive because we're smart, and we still have $3 million in the bank, which most people don't. Flow through gives us that ability to advance the project. We try not to dilute too much because that's detriment as well. But when you have a project like this, I think you have to just keep going. I mean, maybe we slow down a little bit, be a little bit more methodical on our approach. But I believe we have the approach at current time, and a couple of $1 million in drilling will prove that up. So we are going to embark on that, throughout August and September and October, and see where we go. And hopefully the market rebounds a bit, and we can close a bigger financing. And that's why we went brokered this time. This is the first time we normally do land broker because it's a little less complex and a little less money. But the fact that we're starting to get the analysts and so forth following us, they're liking our story. And if we're lining ourselves up for a much bigger raise at much higher prices in the future, we need to be aligned with the bankers and the institutions. So it's time for us to step into that world as well.
Right. Okay. And because you got Eric Sprotsman, and Uncle Eric is somewhere in there with a big chunk of stock in you. So was he
Yeah,
15,
Eric is
16
our
cents,
biggest
something like that?
shareholder. And we do
Right.
have a
Okay. So
European fund that also just took 9.9% of us in our last financing.
that's right. That's right. But I mean, in terms of people like that, there was a kind of like a frenzy for getting after copper companies about 4 months ago when copper started to move. It's sort of sitting around slightly above $4 at the moment, which is higher than it was at the beginning of the year. But I think people got excited when they got to $5. Is there any sorts of advice coming from Mr. Spross or the European Fund as to how to play this?
Well, I mean, they want companies to advance things. What's the good to have an investment that just dies on the grapevine? Everybody wants to see movement. I want to see movement. I want my shareholders to see movement. I want them to see progression in the company. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I mean, when you see, Field getting taken out for $4.5 billion, that speaks volume for where you think copper, assets are going. Just because there's a pullback, I don't mean to say that that there's going to be, a shortage or abundant supply of copper in the market, because there's not. I mean, there's clearly when these guys are bidding such humongous prices for these assets, that there's going to be big value. If they're paying 4.5 billion, they're going to make 10, out of it at the end of the day or more. So, yeah, I mean, this.
I think the exciting bit about that, Stephen, is the fact that there's some money which is hopefully going to get recycled back into the market. right?
Absolutely.
So someone's made a stack of money on that deal. I know BHP in London already owned 40% of it, but that's a lot of money recycling back into the market, which may cascade down, because one assumes that money's going to be reallocated into existing portfolio ETF portfolio companies, or new companies that perhaps some of these shareholders have not thought about before, have been looking at and waiting for moments like this. So I think it does feel kind of quite strong in terms of the copper gold M&A activity. Potentially for companies like yourself getting noticed. So we shall see how that plays out. So in terms of not national advice, but they're saying carry on as you are, and I guess that's your advice to your current shareholders and anyone looking in. It's like we'll be carrying on as normal. It's good. We got something good here.
Absolutely. It's don't panic. I mean, this is where the smart people sit back and accumulate stock, and the people that panic, misses the ride. And I believe that's where we're headed. We're heading for a beautiful ride in Benton. We are going to. I have no doubt in my mind that we will be able to outline resources and continue to expand on what we have, and possibly find other new zones and deposits. We have over 25 kilometers of stratigraphy that 40-50% of it is completely underexplored. And there's starting to be a lot of juniors around us also doing a little bit of exploration. So that also could spark the area, which is pretty exciting.
Right. So the same. So I guess the same logic applies with your kind of JV with Sokoman in terms of the lithium asset. It's hold fire. You're not looking to cash that in anytime soon.
Well, just for an update on our shareholders, everything has been filed to the TSX with our lithium asset as Piedmont as our partner. Obviously, lithium companies have taken a bit of a licking in the last little while, but it is a real asset. The Piedmont guys are behind us, and they financed it at $1 a share. We're going to come out, trading hopefully in the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. We're just waiting for conditional approval right now. Once we get that, we'll make an announcement on our record date for a dividend of a share to the shareholders. And it's that project is exciting. We just finished a small program on the project, funded through Piedmont, and we'll be announcing any significant results that we came up with. We have found several new spodumene boulder trains that we're chasing up. So it's a fantastic project to be involved in and advancing.
Okay. Well, I'll look out for that. Also look out for the closing of this raise, and more importantly, more of those assays as they come back. Appreciate your time today, Stephen. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Always a pleasure.